All right, hello everyone. So today I'm going to do a little tutorial reading Chagatay using Eric Schluessel's Introduction to Chagatay. Great book. It's available totally for free online. It's on Internet Archive and on his Dr. Schluessel's Academia EDU page. I thought I would do two things of today, just explaining how to go through this. And also explaining some of the aspects of Chaghatay. If you maybe already know or speak Uzbek or another Central Asian Turkic language, some of this may be a little bit easier for you. But we are reading part of the Babur Nama, my favorite book, in that's in the grammar. This is a description of Fergana, the Fergana Valley. I thought we would just go through probably the first kind of several lines of this, just to sort of get an understanding for the language and how to do this. So, first of all, this is a typed text, and we also have the kind of a facsimile of the manuscript here. As you can see, the script is much harder to read than the printed, so I'm going to be focusing on the printed version, assuming that most people are not super familiar with reading manuscript handwriting. So first, what we probably want to do if we're trying to read this for a translation, especially given this is a Turkic language, we want to identify some of our cases maybe. So this part here, this is the Bismillah al-Rahman al-Rahim. This is the very common invocation at the beginning of an Islamic text. So, in the name of God, most gracious and merciful, I think. Anyway, that's just the sort of dedication to God. And then we get into the text. Ramazan ayı tarihi 899'da Fergana vilayetinde 12 yaşta padişah buldum. So as we're reading, we want to stop here. This is our verb, and that'll let us break off the sentence. So in the month of Ramazan, in the year 899, that's the Islamic Hijri calendar, of course. Fergana vilayette 12 yaşta padişah buldum. So we want to work backwards. So buldum, I was, or probably more in this case, I became. Padişah, the emperor or ruler. 12 yaşta. Ta is our case for in or at. Same as da, it's just the difference in vowel harmony. Yaşta, dokuz, da. 12, 12, 10, 10, and 2. 12 yaşta padişah. I became padişah at the age of 12. Fergana vilayette, in the province of Fergana. in the month of Ramazan in the year 899. So if we wanted to kind of break the sentence down further so we understand, so here we have another in, at, on case ending for the number 899. And in this case, tarikh usually means history, but for here where it's indicating the date. So Ramazan ayah, the month of Ramazan, at this date. So you can think of this as up to here as like one clause if you want to really break it into pieces. And we have our next kind of component, not really a full clause, but our next sort of component, Fergana vilayette in Fergana. And we have our next piece, on iki ashta. And then we have really kind of the core or the main function of the sentence, I became Padishah. Now the next part, this is a little longer. So our verb is here, Vaki buluptur. Now this is a little bit different in terms of the tense. This is a tense that's in Turkic languages. This is the sort of the narrative past is what Schluessel calls it, which is a good term for it. It's also called the kind of reported past tense in Turkish. If you know Turkish, it's mish mush, that ending. But here, it's kind of, if we wanted to put it into English, vaki buluptur, it's not, you could translate it just as it was, or it was located in this case, but you could also more accurately translate it as it is said that it was, or it is reported that, something like that. And in Babur's case, for this specific text, you may, if you were translating this, you may want to go with that reported tense, because if you read the whole thing, what Babur is trying to do, he's a Timurid prince, and he's trying to say, I'm like the kind of, I'm a warrior, but I'm the civilized kind of warrior, and these other people that have set up shop in Fergana and these other surrounding regions, they're all crazy people. I'm being a little simplistic, but this is kind of, you can sort of read the text and pick this up if you read the whole Baburnama, which I always recommend. And actually now I realize I missed something. So we do have another verb ending, din dur. So this is a combination of the from case, like from or out of, and then we have our present tense, it is, dur, that ending. So let me back up a minute. So here we have another complete sentence. So Fergana vilayeti 5. iklim dindur. So this is a little esoteric if you're not familiar maybe with Islamic history. Not that esoteric, but it goes back to even classical Western geography. So the world is divided up into climes, and they're numbered. And Babur is telling us that Fargana vilayeti, so the province of Fargana, Beshinji iklim dindur, it is from the fifth clime, literally, but we could say in English, it is in the fifth clime. This is one of those areas where you sometimes have to not translate so literally. Here, this is another point with the grammar. So we have Fergana vilayeti. So this is this ya at the end is indicating possession to show that these two words go together. So the province of Fergana. Okay, so now we can go to this sentence here that ends with vaki buluptur. So we have mamurenin kanarasada vaki buluptur. So I already mentioned it is said, or it is said to be located. Okay, on the edges or on the edge, and then mamura ning. So here we have to kind of do a little more. Let's look at our pieces here. So we have mamura. This is the verb, and this means like inhabited region or the cultivated region, something like that. You could translate it a few different ways. This is our possessive ending, ning. And then we have kenara. This means edge. This is our other noun. And then we have sa. This is our another indicating possession. So ning goes with sa. So mamura possesses kenara. But it's not like English possession. It's to put these. Well, yeah, it is. So in this case, it is. So the inhabited edge, on the inhabited edge, kind of literally, vaki, vaka baluktur. So how would we want to translate this? It would probably be more, if we wanted something a little more elegant, like it is said that the inhabited regions are on the edge. Something like that. You could translate it a few different ways, but that's the sort of thrust of the sentence. Now, Babur is going to give us some directions and there's some proper nouns here. So we have Kashgar, that's the city, still exists today in East Turkestan. Then we have Garbe, so this is to the west. And the ya here is like kind of functioning as a like indicator, like Kashgar, Gar is west, Garbe, Samarkand, that's the city in today Uzbekistan, Janubi, south, Samarkand is to the south. And this part is a little difficult to untangle, but let's go through this. So this is a proper noun, Badhasha, and then we have Badhashang, I think, Ning, and then we have Sarhad, which means frontier or edge or something like that, kind of like Kanara that we had earlier. And then we have Taglara, the mountains. Va, so we have another break. So the Badhashan Ning Sarhada Daglara. So the edges of the Badhashang mountains, and Shomalida, and in the north, Eğerçe, although Burun, before, Shaharlar, Bar, Egandur. We'll get to this. So here's our verb, Egandur Bar. So this is like a kind of a both work as sort of the verb. So Bar is like to indicate existence. There is, there are. But when we have this Egandur, this is kind of saying like another one of these narrative. It's like also functioning with the narrative past tense. It's like it is said there are cities, although it is said there were cities. So the full for this sentence it would be, and in the north, it is said there were cities. Cities existed. So this sentence we would have to kind of adjust a little bit to make it fit into English. But what Babur is doing, as I mentioned earlier, is he's kind of using like a lot of the sort of reported past tense, probably deliberately as a kind of narrative device. He knows about the Fergana Valley, but when he's writing his memoirs, especially this point about the cities, he's trying to probably indicate that well, there were some cities, but now we have these nomads that are messing everything up, and I don't know what's going on, kind of thing. It's sort of subtle, but in terms of just understanding the text on a more basic level, this is just you could even translate this as was. It's not totally technically correct, but to understand what it's doing, it's the sort of or there are rather. It is said there are or there is, and sheher lar. So this is our plural ending, lar shehir or shahir. I think in the Chagatay pronunciation, which is sort of guesswork, but there are cities. It is said there are cities. And he continues, but I wanted to just do this to kind of walk through a little bit of Chaghatay, and this is with Schluessel's textbook, which is excellent. Can't recommend it enough. So if you want to work with this, and he has some more basic exercises. I wanted to do this just because I love the Baburnama, and this is a nice narrative text that you can follow along with. So, and he continues further on. So I may revisit this soon, or maybe do kind of a walkthrough reading like an actual manuscript. But the Chaghatay manuscript handwriting is pretty challenging, and I've been reading this stuff for 4 or 5 years now, and it takes a long time to understand. Now, for this, fortunately, Schluessel has given us the original, one of the original handwritings, so we can see what it looks like. It's kind of like probably is. Nastaliq, if you're familiar with Persian, because they typically write in Nastaliq script. So there's that. Now, one thing I should do quickly here at the end. So Schluessel has given us a nice glossary right here, both in the text and then in the back of the book. But let's just for a second pretend we did not have the handy glossary. So what would we do? And we have to turn to our dictionary. Well, let me keep that in. Let me open this. So we have this is just a map of Fergana, and when we're reading stuff like this, it can actually be helpful to for knowing proper nouns. Sometimes the names have changed a lot. That's especially true when you're dealing with like the Ottoman Empire, because a lot of names changed places in the early 20th century. But anyway, here we have, Badakhshan, here's the mountains, and here's Fergana. We have some of the names of the different places. There's Kashgar, there's Samarkand, there's Fergana. But okay, what would we do if we don't have a glossary with us? So we have this is the online Persian to English dictionary. This is Steingass's dictionary. Now, I prefer physical ones, but because I have to do this all on the computer, this is pretty good. So we could look up some of the words that are in. So let's look up an easy one, Shahir. Now, one thing that is a little tricky with this one is getting the transliteration right. So, I mean, obviously you could type in Persian, but let me look at the text again, just to find another one. Here it gave us a lot of results. And this dictionary allows you to search within the definitions, so that's handy. But what was I looking for? Okay. I think you all will understand the idea. You can search in here, and it has all of the definitions. And this is a straight transliteration of Steingass's dictionary. So there's Steingass, and this website is pretty valuable, even though it's not Chagatay related. This is the University of Chicago Digital Dictionaries of South Asia, so there's not a lot if you're for doing Turkic world stuff, but it does have both the Steingass dictionary. It also has this Haim dictionary, which I have not really used very much. Suleiman Haim. It may be worth a try, but they also have a feature you can search for both. As you can see, they also have Pashto for other Persian language or Iranian language, whatever you like. We also have actually, they do not have Tibetan. Yeah, they haven't added Tibetan to this. I don't know if they will. This is a pretty old site, but anyway. Oh, well, updated April 2025, so that's great. So that's this. That's sort of an aside, but this is useful. And for Chagatai, the Persian dictionary is pretty helpful. Now, what if we want to look elsewhere? There are two others that we can use. So this is Sir Gerard Clauson's An Etymological Dictionary of Pre-13th Century Turkish. So this is pretty useful, but it is not the most user-friendly, and it's because, it's another thing where he has presented everything in transcription, and, some of these transcription systems are a little not so easy to use if you don't know the logic. That's why I prefer dictionaries that use like either modern Turkish alphabet or the originally Arabic script. But this is a pretty useful resource. Unfortunately, very expensive to get the real thing. I'd like to get a copy someday, but this has a lot of a lot of terms in it and a lot of examples. Very detailed. Clauson's kind of an interesting scholar. He never had an academic appointment. He worked in private sector pretty much, I think, his entire life. But anyway, that's a side note. But this is a useful resource. Obviously, it is available on the Internet Archive, as you can see here. And then lastly, of course, is Redhouse's Lexicon, which I am a big booster of. Although in Chagatay, it is not always very helpful because the orthography between Ottoman Turkish and Chaghatay is pretty different. It's not entirely useless, but I would not it would not be my sort of go-to for doing Chaghatay, although it's pretty useful. It's got a lot of the Arabic and Persian terms that came into Turkic languages, so it's pretty useful. And this one is also all on the Internet Archive, and it's importantly alphabetized in the Arabic script, so it's very easy to use. And Redhouse's definitions were pretty, detailed. The transliteration's a little weird, but he was kind of doing this for the first time in a way, so he rendered an important service, nevertheless. And that leads me to, I guess, my final point, working with, if we want to work with Chagatai, is that, there's no kind of one dictionary to use, unfortunately. So you kind of have to pick up between different things. If you know Russian, there might be more in Russian that I'm not aware of in terms of dictionaries and lexicons and things like that. But if you want to translate into English to write some kind of research in English, it's pretty difficult to do. There's not a lot of options for one dictionary. You kind of have to go with a few different things. There's also you can also use people have used Uyghur dictionaries because that has a lot of the terms, and the modern Uyghur, as far as I know, has a similar sort of orthography to Chagatai. So that may be helpful. I haven't fully investigated that, but that may be another option. So this was kind of a long one, but I hope you at least found this interesting and helpful. If I made any sort of really bad mistakes, let me know. Or if you'd like me to follow up, we could revisit the same passage and go through it. And then in the future, like I said, maybe I'll do totally from an original manuscript, and we could work through that as kind of another tutorial. So thanks for watching. This is like the first one of this type of video I've done. So it's also sort of kind of a proof of concept for me if people like this stuff. All right. I think with that, I'll leave it there, and thank you for watching.